Okay, this is a real easy way to remember. Whichever way your hook is going to face, so it's facing down, that's the direction your hair is going to kind of fall. So, anyways, I take this, bring it through, and you see my loop here. And it's going to go opposite of the loop because the loop's going to hook and face down now. And it's just kind of the way that it tugs. See, it has a more tendency to lay flat this way. Then this way it kind of, if you go this way, it kind of has a lump here, which is fine if you want a little bit more volume to your hair. But then this is going to kind of, the loop is going to kind of want to pull up. So if it's this way, pull it, kind of give it a tug, pull it tight, and it'll go down. So you do this kind of, I usually typically start with the head. I'll go around here, and then I'll kind of go down, and right about where I hit the nose, where your ear would be, I kind of start fading this way to about, you know, where your hairline, kind of look at your own hairline, see where it falls, and then I go just under the skull, right where about your increases are. If you're doing one of Fiona's patterns, right where your increases are, you're going to stop kind of right above the stitch above that. Because if you try to go into these increases, not only is it a little too low, but also you're going to have trouble where the increases are because the stitches are not completely even as they are here. So try to stop right above that. And then I usually go from side to side, so I'll do ignore my dog whining in the background. I usually go like do one this side, do one this side, so that they're very even and you don't have to go back and count like, oh, when did I start, going down here to get them straight. So I kind of do alternate back and forth. You can do a side part or you could do a straight part, and your part's not always easily to see. Sometimes I'll take a piece of yarn and I'll stitch it through with a needle. Here, I'll show you real quick. Wherever I started my part, to kind of give it a little more definite part so it's easier for you, or if you're making this for a little girl, whoever, it'll be easier for them to find the part, which I know little girls probably don't really care as much, but you never know, you get some particular little girls. Anyway, say this is my part and I wanted a side part, and so I'll have a couple stitches over here and a couple stitches here. I'll just simply go in a straight line back, bring it around, put it back through the same spot. Let's see. And I'll do it twice to where there are two strands of yarn that are. Anyways, this little line here will give you more of an indication of, where your part is, because it's really hard to tell. You'd have to split the hair apart like this style. I did not do that, and it's kind of hard. I do have a definite part. I tell by the different, I have two different dark brown pieces. They're right together. And anyway, I do have a part where the stitches kind of start to go opposite directions, but it's really hard to see, and if I would have done this with a line, it would have been a lot easier to tell where her part is, because I'm having difficulties finding it at the moment. There it is. Okay, anyways, they kind of start going opposite directions, and you also have a gap, so if you put this right there, it'll kind of close in the gap a little bit. Anyways, that's the rooted method. I know I didn't do it a whole lot here, but I'll next show you the wig method. This is using a loop or a double loop stitch. I'm just going to grab whatever needles I have close. These are size 3. I probably want to use at least a 4 or 5, so that you're not, stitching forever. We'll do it for my small doll here, as if I was doing it for her. Let's see. I'm going to look at her here. I'm going to count stitches. Looks like there's about 18 on the bottom of her head. I might go 16, depending on how I want to do the increases, because if I want it to increase up, then I would start with probably 16 and then do a couple increases. But if you don't mind it just being straight like I have it here, you just do the 18 and just work your way around. Okay, so I'm going to cast on 16. Okay, so I have my 16 stitches casted on. This is a method I actually learned from Annette Hefford's Knitted Pirates, Princesses, Witches, Wizards, and Fairies. She has a very good picture display inside the book. A really good book for making dolls as well. A lot of really intricate outfits in there. Really, really like it. Anyway, so I have my 16 stitches. I think this is going to be right for her head. It actually is looking a little big. So we're going to go with it. It may be a little bit too big. If so, we'll just stitch it a little bit easier. But anyways, it's good to kind of, knit a couple of rows and then see, because you can always tell just by it being on the needle how big it's actually going to be. It's good to knit a couple rows and see if it matches up with your doll's head first before you completely go into this. I'm not going to do this just simply because we don't have time for that on this video, and also it's not actually going on my doll's head. I'm just showing you how I do it. Anyways, you do, on your knitted rows, most of your knitted rows, you're going to do the loop method. And on the other rows, you're going to purl. So we're going to start. And what you do for the loop method is you insert your needle like you're going to knit. You do one around, exactly as you're going to knit. And then however long you want your hair to be, you're going to wrap that around your fingers. So if you want it to be really short, you do 2 fingers. If you want to do it extra long, you might want to do it twice around all 4 fingers. So I'm going to do around my 4 fingers. This is just to keep it even, and especially if you're doing not going to cut it and you're going to have the loop hair like I did on my other doll. This is really important. Okay, anyways, then you bring it through as if you're going to knit. Like that. And then you bring it, you would take those 2 stitches you just made, put it back on your needle. Sorry, you can't see very well. You see this little loop? Okay. Then you're going to take your working yarn, you're going to put it back through those 2 loops that you just put on the needle, knit normally. And then you're going to give this little loop you just made a good tug, and that's to tighten it. So you're going to do this for all of them, all the stitches on your needle. You could do every other one if you don't want it quite as thick. It's really just something you have to experiment with and see what you like. So wrap it around as if you're going to knit, wrap it around your fingers, and then back onto the needle like you're knitting. Pull that through. Take those 2 stitches you just made, put it back on your needle, through those 2, knit it, tug. Tugging just kind of tightens your stitches. So I'm going to do this for all of them. It is a tedious process, but it works really well and it looks good and it holds up to kids trying to pull the hair out. So